Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, everyone. We forgot to ask, who's going to open the show? Who's going to open the show?
Right. Today we're going to talk about faith and how to have an unfailing trust in yourself and in everything that you do, and how important it is to have faith.
Yes, we talked about this just before the show, and we're going to talk about faith in yourself, because you know what? And we're going to get into it quite deeply, just like last week. I hope you watched last week's show. It was very cool. We learned a lot about Gigi and all about her family and basically what makes you tick.
Exactly.
And it was great. So if you did not see that episode, you just got to go to Gigi Vegas Show on WCOBM.TV, click on shows, scroll down till you see the Ultimate Boss Babe picture, and then you can watch last week's show. So let's get into it.
So what is faith? What is faith to you?
Well, faith in myself is, to me, it's having the confidence to take on a challenge, that I have faith. I don't know what the outcome's going to be, but I have faith in myself that the process of which trying to achieve that will be a notable one.
Right.
That's how now whether I can actually do that in real life is another story, but that's when someone says, do you have faith in yourself? Yes, I have faith in myself. I can do this show. I can run this studio. Do I have faith in building a building? I don't know about that, Gigi. I don't know if I could build a building, but in my world, I have quite a bit of faith.
Right.
What about you?
Faith for me is trusting in myself, having confidence in myself. And now it's not just limited to myself, but it's also has to do with everything you do. You see, I have a belief system that how you do anything is how you do everything. So if we train ourselves and to have enough faith in starting a business, for instance, and losing weight and being able to be that entrepreneur and top agent or top etc. in your world, to me that's having faith in yourself, and it opens the doors for everything else. And it has to do with how we were raised and our belief system,
right?
And it has to do a lot with our cultural beliefs as well, because a lot of us have a different perspective of faith and are very limited in our beliefs.
Let me ask you a question. Faith in yourself, is that something you're born with? Has Gigi always been this way, or can you learn it? Can someone be, I can't get anything right, my life sucks. Can they learn it to where they become a success?
I truly believe that having faith is a spiritual inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at your ancestors, a lot of our ancestors in the Hispanic communities, they came here with a faith. A lot of us were raised by our mothers only. So I think it's like an inheritance spiritual gift that we have.
Okay.
But it's something that you could also learn. So you could just tap into your belief system and erase all the negativity that you've learned, unlearn that,
right,
and learn to have more faith in yourself. You could definitely obtain it.
Okay, so let me ask you this, because it sounds like to me, it doesn't matter what you plug into your life, it's all in the same plug-in. I have this faith in myself. It's a spiritual inheritance. I have a spiritual being, life, thought process. So anything I do, whether I'm going to do a charity car wash or sell $1 billion building,
right,
it's all kind of the same concept. It's all just, like I said, it's a lemonade stand on the weekend with my kids. Same thought process as I'm going to sell that $1 million building.
Right. You said something really that I put a quote in a book that I read. I wrote for my agents, and if success had a twin sister, it would be resourcefulness.
Okay.
Because it doesn't really matter your ability. If you're resourceful, you could create faith like that. If you say, I'm going to do something, for instance, I'm going to open my own brokerage or do etc. I have no idea how. I've never done it before. Nobody's backing me up, but I'm doing it just on the basis of faith.
Right.
If you just take that leap of faith, and resources just come your way. I mean, doors just open, because now you're not just relying on yourself, you're relying on your faith.
Right.
And we don't realize that we have so many resources in life to obtain anything that we want.
Wow. Okay. So you basically, in a nutshell. Now let's go back a little bit, in case you're watching the show for the very first time. Gigi is a successful real estate broker here, mostly commercial, right?
Right.
Mostly commercial. So she does some very big deals here in town. But if you watched the last episode, you didn't fall ass backwards into that. You started off as an appointment setter. So
Right.
you basically started off at the bottom. I guess that's what the bottom is an appointment setter, right? And you worked your way up to the point where you are now. And what you're telling us is that mindset that you have that's special, all right? Not everybody has it. I mean, we all have ups and downs. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Right.
Does Gigi ever have ups and downs?
Of course I do.
Okay, do you ever fly anything into a mountain? You're like, wow, that was a great idea when I thought about it, but pow, that didn't work out so
Right.
well, But you know what? And we can go into that too, the failure, having faith of, okay, that didn't work, but, brush it off, water off a duck's back, and moving forward.
Well, see, how you view failure
Okay,
has a lot to do
tell
with
us about that.
Because I don't view failure as a loss.
Okay.
I view failure as an opportunity to learn. So whenever I have failure, I just learn how to not do something. That to me has more value than to just, give me you read a book and you have so much knowledge, the experience you have with things and how you view failure. For example, something really easy. You get, everybody tells you make 100 phone calls, you make one sale.
Right, that's what I've
everybody
always said. I don't even make 100 phone calls. I'm
you're
too
not gonna-
scared. I'm too
right?
scared.
Well, to me that means if I make 100 phone calls, 99 are going to say no. 99 is going to be a failure, but that one person that's going to say yes, that's a success. So do I love failure? I love failure. Who doesn't love failure in that case, right? That's the way I look at it.
Right. Okay, but let's take it something a little bit scarier than cold calling.
Right.
What if let's talk about failure on a monumental case, and we'll use your world. And we're going to make a scenario up. This is not a true scenario, but say you and your husband really feel this building is really such a good deal that you're going to go ahead, instead of just sell it, you're going to buy it.
Right.
You're going to buy it, and you're going to because we know, the location's good. We know the comps. We're professional. We bought this building. And for some reason, we'll just say, you know what, golly, we opened up a wall and there's all this black mold in there. And now it's a disaster.
Right.
Okay, and to fix it, it just took this beautiful life that you have, that you're kicking ass and rocking and rolling, and it literally took you financially right back to where when you were an appointment setter.
Right.
People have, now that's just a situation in her world, but
Right.
I don't know if you've ever dealt with something like that before, where you've tried something and it literally took
Right.
you down years. That's where people like me have the problem of, can I do it again?
Right.
Can I get up? Or should I just go work in a warehouse for $10 an hour?
Right.
So how do you, if you've ever dealt with something like that, how would, that takes
really
a lot
easy
of
to
faith.
quit.
Huh?
It's really easy to quit.
Right.
Seeing yourself in that situation, and I've probably been in that situation before, not in that exact situation. It's really easy to just say, okay, you know what, I'm not meant for this. But if you stop and assess the situation and think about, what did you learn from that situation?
Right.
A lot of people, that could have been a mistake that could have been avoided.
Right.
And now are you going to make that same mistake? You damn sure you're not going to.
Oh, you won't make that one again. You're going to check those walls the next time, right?
So to me, that wouldn't stop me from doing anything else. It would
Right.
just give me more power. Like now, I not only have to make up the money that I lost,
Right.
I have to double it
Right.
or triple it. And
Now-
I bet
okay.
you will.
You will. Now, I have a question for you. Say, because when we talk about this all the time, Gigi and I, because she's been married a long time, I've been married a long time. is it easy when you have a failure and you and your husband work together? I mean, my wife and I couldn't work together. Not that I don't love her, we just couldn't. Is it easy at that point to point fingers? Like, you got us into this. I didn't want to do it. You kind of forced me into it. Is that easy to do? And that's something in your mindset? You know what? Hey, I don't care whose fault it was. The result is what the result is. Let's move on.
Right.
So what's your thought process on that?
Okay, so it is very easy to point fingers, and I'm not gonna lie, I probably have once or twice.
Okay.
That was your doing, honey. That was
Right.
right. It's really easy, but at the end of the day, you're a team.
Right.
You're a team, and I think I said this before. I
Okay.
view me and my husband not only as a marriage, but we're also a team in everything that we do. We're a team in how we raise our kids and how we do everything. And have we had failures? Yes. We attempted to open up a brokerage previously that
Okay.
did not work out. Did that stop me? Heck no, it didn't. I learned not to trust just anybody.
Okay.
So I learned so many things from that last experience, and that is the reason why I'm here today, from the last brokerage that we've had.
Okay.
So did I point fingers? I didn't really have to.
Right.
My husband was nice enough to kind of assess the situation and say, okay, let's do this again.
Okay.
Take two. So
All right.
now we've learned so many things from that failure.
Let me ask you this: the first failure of the first brokerage, did it set you back a number of years of like, okay, we just can't okay, it's Friday, that effed up. Let's on Monday there's a new name and we're on. Or did it? Because that's where I see where a lot of people who don't have the faith that you have, or something like that, would just knock them off kilter for a
Right.
decade.
So you said something very extremely important.
Okay.
So it just doesn't manifest like this, right? You need a time for yourself to kind of spiritually regenerate yourself. You need time to yourself to think and reflect on everything. And I think everybody, whether you had failure or no failure, I think your spirituality, your emotional health is extremely important. Not only just, and I say this a lot,
Okay.
your spiritual, emotional, your mental, and your physical are so important to your success. And it's so important to your faith. Because if you're lacking in any of those 4 areas in your life, you're not going to go so far. It's only so far that your health is going to be able to keep you going, right?
Right.
It's your mental health. You know, everybody has a breakdown. If you don't take time to replenish that, emotionally, spiritually, physical, you're going to have a breakdown at some point. So there was a time in my life where after that failure, I kind of just backed off from everybody and disappeared.
Right.
And I worked on all of those 4 areas of my life. I got into CrossFit. I got connected spiritually with a really good church that I love. So I replenished that mentally. I studied I was a study whore. I was in there, in and out, just studying at the library, replenishing myself, working on myself. And I think that's the main thing that people forget to work on themselves.
Okay. So you did, even after that first initial brokerage that didn't work out, you did take time to I guess it would be called a reset button.
A reset, yes.
You did a reset.
Right.
And came back even stronger.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that is the one of the reasons why people get burned out and say, okay, I'm not meant to do this. I'm just going to back out and do something else. No, it's time to kind of just assess your situation, work on yourself. It's so important to work on yourself and start over. Sometimes you gotta, like the saying says, sometimes you have to make a step backwards in order to move forwards.
Okay. Well, I want to get into something else that ties into this. You are a Hispanic woman.
Yes.
Hispanic American, whatever you want to call it.
I was born in Mexico.
Right. So I don't know if that makes you a Mexican American or Hispanic American, but you are a proud Hispanic person.
Yeah.
I can tell that.
Soy mexicana.
All right. So World Cup, you did pretty good.
We did.
Mexico did pretty good. There's always that knockout round.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, we love it. So you're a proud Hispanic woman, and we've talked a little bit about it, how let's talk a little bit about Hispanics in America.
Right.
This is how I see it, as just a white guy who lives in America, just born here and raised and try to make my living here, right?
Right.
I see the Hispanic community as the hardest working people I've ever seen in my life.
Me too.
I mean, I've seen it on Facebook, and I've said it for years. I never see Hispanics, Mexicans, whatever you want to call them. I never see them on a street corner saying, I need food, or
Right.
give me $1, or whatever. I just don't see it. If they're standing around, they're standing around looking for a job.
Mm-hmm.
And that, in my opinion, is an extremely great value. And Hispanic families are the ones that I've known are just so tight. Even if maybe the mother and father isn't together anymore, the uncle takes over, and the uncle's there, and the cousins are there, and oh my goodness, you go to a Hispanic
Yeah, the big
thing,
party.
it's just a fan of food's going everywhere. It's incredible. And no disclaimer, I lived in Tijuana for a while. I grew up in San Diego, National City, all that, so I'm very used to the Hispanic community. Just the most hardest working people out there. Families' values are tight.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's a recipe for huge success.
Right.
Tell me your thoughts.
It is. It is. We're definitely the hardest, one of the most hardest, I want to say. But we have a different concept about money.
Okay, tell us about it.
We are just, well, in my childhood, I was pretty much raised that money is the evil of all world, right? So we have a mentality, a concept about money that's different than any other country, I believe. And it's just not true. I believe that we have the recipe for success if we just switch our belief system in that. And I wish I could tell you the answer as to why we are raised to believe that money is the evil of our world. And it's just, I think that we're as, if not equally, well, we're definitely equal than anybody else.
Right.
But it's just that mentality that we have that kind of limits us to have great success.
Well, let me ask you a question, because I have a thought. When I was a kid, growing up in San Diego and Chula Vista, and maybe things have changed in Mexico. They certainly may have, I think. But it was always, Mexico had the rich folks and the poor folks.
Right.
There was no middle folks. You know, there was just no middle folks who believed like money's. But when you're rich folks and you need to keep people poor,
Right.
what do you teach them? You teach them money's the root of all evil.
Exactly.
So stay where you're at.
Exactly.
So that's my thought press on it. But I think middle class in Mexico certainly grown over the last 40 years. But that's what I was kind of taught when I was a kid, that Mexico had a very few rich people, but lots of poor people, that there was no middle class. Am I on drugs or am I right?
Yeah, you know, it's very right. My kids are in Mexico right now, by the way. They're enjoying themselves.
Well, it's
And-
beautiful. I mean, our friend Nicole Taylor Sharp went to Mexico for vacation. Oh, don't get us wrong. It's a beautiful place.
Right. And I absolutely agree with you. I mean, there's just really not a middle class. It's either you're rich or you're poor. And I think you're absolutely right that that mentality that there is being fed to us it's what's keeping us from being successful. If we just have a new set of values, a new set of belief system, and believe, yes, I could come into this country with faith, and then I could come into this country and be as good as everybody else, because I am as good as everybody else. That's just having faith in yourself.
Right. Well, that's how we're tying it in, because you're a big person who believes in the faith in yourself. You look at the Hispanic community, and you're saying, hey, that tends to be a little lacking. But if we change that as a whole, the Hispanic community would not just gravitate to like, well, I guess I just get I'm automatically the low-paying guy.
Right.
That's just my job. I just take the low-paying jobs.
Right.
Because that's what I do.
Right.
You know, that's what my dad did.
Yes.
That's what my grandfather did. That's
And
what
if
my
you-
brother's doing.
And then that's the reality, that we really don't have someone to look up to. I mean, in my family, at least in my case, there has not been anybody that really has made that kind of money
Right.
that I could look up to and say, I want to be like uncle this and that. And by the way, I do have uncles in Mexico that are
Okay.
that are doing very well. But however, you're not raised, around that in most of the family communities
Right.
in Mexico. And so, who do you look up to? We're not taught that we could actually achieve that.
Right. Well, it's true. We don't, the as far as the Hispanic community, and I could be ignorant here, and I'm the first one to admit it. We, as far as well, the richest guy in the world is from Mexico, right?
Right.
Okay. We're talking all this, but oh, by the way, the richest guy in the world is from Mexico.
Yeah.
But it's one guy. Okay. But it seems interesting that here in America, Hispanics looking to someone in business, someone to look up to, like, wow, look what this person did. What you're saying is really not a lot out there.
Right.
Who's the Hispanic that we look to for? Look at this as our hero.
Right.
Well, it was God, I can't remember his name. I'm so bad. He was the farm worker that got the union for the farm workers.
Right.
I can't even remember his name.
Can't remember.
Which is bad. I know the boxer, Bashir Chavez, okay?
Okay.
No, but that's his name. And he was the hero. Hispanic community was someone trying to fight for migrant workers. And there's nothing wrong with that. The guy was a hero. I mean, he brought attention to an issue that it was important. But there, golly, in some ways there has been. I mean, there was an attorney general who was Hispanic for our during the Bush administration. Certainly. So I think what you're looking for, I think, is happening.
Yes.
Slowly but surely.
Slowly but surely.
You are sitting here as an example. Okay? You gotta, and I hope you look yourself in the mirror and give yourself a pat on the back.
I don't really.
You should. You should. And I know many Hispanic businesses and business owners, to me, they're just heroes. And like I said, they're taking that hard work mentality and they're getting into the business world. And there's some great Hispanic business clubs here in Las
Yes,
Vegas.
absolutely.
But you are right. I think when we mostly think of, Hispanics, what do we think? We think, well, we know who changes all the bed sheets in the
Right,
hotels, right?
right.
You sit at the back of a hotel at 5 a.m. and you see hundreds and hundreds of Hispanics going in to do the maid work. You drive around town and you see the guys pulling the lawnmowers out of the trucks to do the landscaping. It's always Hispanic.
Right.
So what does that teach us?
It teaches us, that it's really what I want everybody to know instead
Right.
is that no matter where you're at in life,
Right.
no matter where you came from, no matter if you don't know how to speak perfect English, you are as equally capable to be
That's right.
successful in this country.
I'm a firm believer in that, and I want that. There's nothing I want more in this country is everybody, whatever race or culture you come from, if you are here, I want you to have an opportunity to raise your children to get a better chance than you.
Absolutely.
That's what I've always believed in. I remember I was like going from elementary school saying, I think everybody here, I don't care, should have a chance. I was like 10,
Yeah.
okay? And it's harder for some people than others. I'm the first one to admit that. I think it's all more mindset than victimhood.
Right.
But true, it is harder for some folks than others. But if you look, there are examples. There was examples of guys that used to mow lawns, right, and now own their own company.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's a girl that used to be an appointment center. Now she runs her own brokerage. So only with the right faith in yourself, you can make that happen.
Absolutely. Not only did that happen, but I came into this country with my second language.
Right.
I didn't know how to speak English, but I practiced even before I came.
Oh, really? Put a pencil in your mouth and started talking so you do it right? Okay. Well, gee whiz, Gigi, I enjoy having you here, and I hope you invite me to be your co-host again. I know you have other people that do your show, but I find it's an honor. It's a great conversation, and you're a hero. And
I'm really not. It's just I hope that more people are able to just make it in this country.
they will. Things are getting better every day. I'm very much an optimist. Like I said, right now there's more jobs in the country than people to fill them. First time in the history. So go out and make your mark. Okay, our time's up.
All right.
See, okay, Gigi will be back next month, 2 times.
Yeah.
Second Thursday and the 4th Thursday of the month. And like I said, if she invites me back, I'll be here.
See you guys.
Bye.